Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. What we provide is a service and a hardware appliance. So what you see on the top right-hand corner of the screen is what we call our video verification bridge. It's branded by a company called Optex. We have a partnership with Optex that allows them to brand the appliance. And then the cloud-based services are all provided by CHeKT. And the solution, as mentioned, will allow you to create video verification, video monitoring services based upon a physical trigger or video analytics from a camera, push that into an alarm monitoring center and allow a 24-hour monitoring center to have instant access to alarm-based video and live video from the site. And so the solution really integrates well with existing alarm systems. It works well with all cameras. And then recently we've provided a firmware update that allows us to begin to support camera analytics and AI. And those systems that have reliable analytics and AI, certainly we encourage those over others. So I'm going to go through the slide. You can see me here and you can see me on the camera. So this is my contact information though. If there's anybody that has questions and needs anything, certainly feel free to email me or call me. That's my office number. So if you called at any time and I'm not available, just leave a voicemail or send an email. The device is a universal video communicator. It works with any video system. That would be any IP cameras or HD over coax recorders. And what it allows you to do is associate any of those specific cameras to any specific alarm zones and provide that unified information to a monitoring center. And so the universal communicator just works with any video system. So here's a quick video that really illustrates the power of the bridge as a universal video communicator. So let's watch this.
The Visual Verification Bridge is a universal video communicator that will turn your standalone alarm panels and cameras into a unified security solution. Traditional alarm panels have reliably provided intrusion detection and delivered signals into central monitoring stations for decades. When zones are tripped, the alarm panel transmits an alarm code to a central station. But monitoring these zones without seeing what triggered the detector has led to high false alarm rates and slow police response times. Fortunately, we have a solution: the Visual Verification Bridge. With the bridge installed, the alarm panel will continue to provide the reliable detection and signal delivery information, and the bridge will transmit video, allowing the central station operator and end user to see exactly what caused the alarm. When using the recommended wiring methods, the bridge will arm and disarm with your alarm panel and will supervise the alarm zones for a trigger. When there is an alarm, pre- and post-alarm video is uploaded for the central station. This alarm event video and live video is available to operators the moment they begin processing the alarm signal, giving operators the real-time information they need to make informed decisions. The CHeKT dealer launch site will provide you with technical design and sales design ideas to help you successfully deploy the Visual Verification Bridge.
I hope you found that video helpful in understanding how the bridge communicates with the central station and with local cameras or recorders. So now I want to get into the actual connections of the bridge and what those look like. This is a picture of the bridge. It's got a local Ethernet connection. It's DHCP enabled. You can assign a static IP address to the connection if needed. It also has an 1/8" output for audio talk down from the monitoring center. So if the device is hooked up to a PA or intercom system that's amplified, the central monitoring center can push down a message to that site to deter a crime or to shoo somebody off of property. As mentioned, it does work with anything camera system. So you can see the bullet there that says supports on-viv cameras or HD over coax recorders, and then just supports any RTSP stream connections. So most of the cameras and recorders today that are manufactured in the professional security industry utilize on-viv and allow on-viv connectivity. And so when that's on the appliance, then you can use that as the authentication method. If it's an older system and it's still an IP appliance or a network appliance, Typically, those devices have a URL that's either an RTSP or an HTTP URL that you can learn into the bridge in the configuration and setup. No port forwarding is required for the installation or by the technician. So once it's plugged into that local area network, you will assign the unit to your dealer account with a serial number and an access code. And once that's done, the unit will automatically be paired to your dealer account into a specific customer record. It does not require any networking or port forwarding of the appliance or any of those associated cameras. So the ability to take those local cameras and push them to any monitoring center really becomes simple. And then this is the other side of the appliance. So as mentioned, we can take physical triggers. So that can be zones on an intrusion system. It can be relays off of machinery. We can take up to 4 triggers from any device, or we can take camera analytics and read those cameras with analytics and create alarm events as a traditional alarm system does, and transmit an alarm code into the monitoring center. All 4 channels of the bridge, what we're doing on the unit once we've authenticated to a camera is we're buffering the video. So we're buffering all 4 channels. And so the pre-alarm and post-alarm information of a physical trigger or analytics is created off of that memory of our device. So that's how we create this consistent pre-alarm event information for the monitoring center. And that's very important to understand, because with monitoring centers, operators need to see what happened moments before that alarm event took place and moments after. And so with that buffering of 2 minutes of video for each channel, we can create that experience for operators. If you needed more than 4 cameras to push to the monitoring center, you can add additional units to a site. And so we'll go over a few sites and I'll show you how that works. The appliance can work with any alarm system because of the way we supervise the zones, the physical zones or wireless zones, and the way we receive the arming information of an alarm panel. You'll see there's a voltage arming pin on the bridge. All alarm systems have a voltage output that you can program to change states based upon the arming and disarming of that alarm system, and so we can just supervise that voltage. Some dealers are hooking up just a toggle switch to allow the end users to just toggle when they want the site armed and disarmed. It's just a voltage pin that you can program. And then the power connection is just 12 volts of power. So real simple, easy installation for your technicians. This is a picture of the bridge installed with an alarm system, so you can see the size. It's really small. It's about 3 inches long and a couple inches wide. Does not take up a lot of space. And so what you can see is these 2 yellow wires are supervising zones 1 and 2 on that intrusion system. And the green wire there is getting arming and disarming status information from the intrusion system. And then the red and the black are just power. So real simple setup. So you can take existing sites or go in on new sites and take that intrusion system, IP cameras or HD over coax cameras, and this bridge, and you're tying everything together. And now in the monitoring center, it just becomes a very seamless operation. When that operator gets an alarm on zone 1, that operator is looking at the camera of zone 1 and any other associated cameras. So what that allows you guys to do is sell video maintenance and video verification and video monitoring services. So with the installation of this one appliance, you can sell the services. One thing I do want to encourage you is if you go onto our YouTube channel, it's just CHeKT Visual Verification. We have a lot of content and videos that you can use as marketing material. We also have a website that I'll share at the end that allow you to have some marketing material that you can share with your customers. But you can create this solution now for your customers so that you can sell the service of when an alarm occurs, the monitoring center can see what causes that alarm to occur. And the monitoring center can even push that information directly to your client so that they can determine if they want to cancel on that alarm or dispatch. So you can see a picture of a cell phone here, and that's that end user experience. And I'll demonstrate that here shortly. So the solution really helps you in the battle that all of our integrators are facing, and that is the municipalities that are requiring video verification, the false alarm rates, and then of course the variety of camera brands that are out there. To have one appliance that really addresses those needs. So you can go into a site with existing alarm systems, an old Demco panel, a new DSC panel, a DMP panel. You can go through those decades of systems and bring them up to speed with the municipality and the ordinances that require video verification. You can do that with nearly any camera system, and you can really reduce the false alarm rates and the false alarm fees and maybe the slow dispatch that dealers are experiencing or customers are experiencing, which all help you retain accounts, which all help you generate additional revenue from these accounts. And so your customers will obviously appreciate that level of service because it's cost effective, it's simple to install, the operators get that real-time response when there's an alarm event, and then you have that compatibility that allows you to just go into any site and really take it over with a system like this, and then you're giving that operator at a monitoring center confidence that when an alarm occurs, they know what caused that alarm to occur. So we bridge the gap. And that's why we call it the bridge, because the bridge will take existing technologies and technologies in place and bring them all together and create that unified solution. So whether it's sensors, physical sensors, or cameras with analytics, that alarm system, and really bring it into that operator as if it's one solution. And so if you're buying cameras and you're buying an alarm system and you're installing that at locations, I'd encourage you to say this: why not put eyes on every one of your alarm systems? You're going to give your customer a significantly better experience. You can charge higher recurring revenue rates because of that improved experience and the likelihood of actually apprehending criminals instead of just sounding the siren. We know that most alarm systems is just a siren, it's a noisemaker, and it doesn't prevent crime at all. But when you create this comprehensive security, you can now begin to sell a service that you're confident that you'll apprehend people with this security system. This, I just wanted to give you guys an understanding of the simplicity of how you would wire it with the traditional intrusion system. The alarm system or that intrusion system will still transmit the alarm signals. That part we don't interfere with. The video system, the recorder, those cameras will still have that local relationship with the recorder. We don't interfere with any of that, but what we're doing is we're supervising both and unifying that for the client and for the monitoring center. So as you can see here, the red and the green wire is just an existing alarm zone, and we're just supervising that zone. That zone is going to open and close all day long, depending on what type of zone it is. But we also supervise on the arming output, whether that alarm panel is armed or disarmed. So only when the alarm panel is armed do we create events and video for the monitoring center. So very simple to set up. And then of course it'll connect to the local area network and upload video to the monitoring center when an alarm occurs. So just a real important diagram, but simple diagram to help you understand how this appliance works. So what it does for you is it just empowers you to now go out there and take those cameras that you've already been installing, take that alarm system that you've been installing, and now create that solution for an accurate signal response. And that's really the key here, is to make you feel empowered that when you sell a service, you know it's going to work. The fact that we supervise these connections and the cameras and the bridge all from our cloud, and it doesn't require any port forwarding, it really ensures that when an alarm event occurs, that operator and that monitoring center will see it. If a camera disconnects, if something goes offline, we actually monitor that and provide you with an email and a health status so that you can go out and provide maintenance services if need be, and you'll know that a camera's offline before an alarm event ever occurs. So with a solution like this, you can take existing systems, and this is very important to understand here. If you've got an existing alarm system and an existing camera system, and you add the bridge to that location, you're not going to create any additional alarm traffic for the monitoring center, because the same alarm zones are occurring and creating those signals. but what the operator now sees is exactly what caused that alarm to occur. It reduces the false alarm rate significantly. It reduces customer frustration significantly. But when there's an alarm and there's an active crime in progress, there's a very, very active response rate from the police department, very high success rate on apprehensions as well. And you've done it with the existing systems and not increased your signal traffic. So your cost to the monitoring centers in a traditional application is pretty minimal, because those monitoring centers understand that they don't have really a lot of additional alarm traffic that could be created by outdoor sensors or cameras with analytics. Now you can, with our appliance, you can begin to scale. If you begin to understand and master that existing and traditional solution with our bridge, or you've done this type of application before, you can now begin to provide those exterior services with confidence, knowing that when an alarm occurs outside, the operator will also be able to see what causes the alarm event. And again, you can do this with reliable exterior motion detectors and photo beams in locations that you need to provide a response for. And obviously these types of locations, whether they're tractor dealerships or the motorcycle or dealerships, you can create protection for plumbing yards and locations that have assets outside, and have that much higher level of recurring revenue for those customers as well, and do it confidently. You can do this with industrial facilities, where you can now begin to differentiate your solution and your services. So if it's chemicals, or if it's drugs or pharmaceuticals, or locations where there's high valuable equipment and medicines, you can begin to provide video monitoring and know that the services that the operators can provide to the client will give them information when an alarm occurs. This all is about differentiating your company and your solution. And then non-traditional applications, whether you want to provide a solution for duress or panic buttons, emergency call systems, environmental systems, because again, you remember, you can create this video experience that I'm going to show you in a moment, and very powerful, that the operator has. You can create that experience with anything, a call button in an elevator system, anything that you can use to trigger a physical contact, or that camera's analytics. So you really can go after some unique opportunities with this type of service. But you can see here in this picture, you know, the example here is that it's a panic button under a register, and now the operator can clearly see what's occurring on that protected premises when the button is pressed. And then lastly, as I mentioned a few times, now you can create hybrid solutions as well. You can take those reliable detectors or existing zones, and you can take detection from cameras with analytics and create some exterior perimeter protection and allow that operator to see that. So I've got some pictures here underneath the main headline of various cameras, whether those are the cameras with AI. There's a lot of cameras that work with this solution to create that hybrid. And the value here is that when the alarm panel is disarmed, those cameras disable. There's no video analytic events being created and transmitted when the alarm panel is disarmed. When the alarm panel is armed and that customer wants someone to monitor that site, now those analytics all become active and are pushing events into the central station. So really, a really powerful way to create a hybrid solution for your customers, where video analytics or AI cameras really may be the best way to provide protection around the lot. You can see on this first image, it's actually a picture of police moving through a lot at a location that had a dispatch from the cameras with analytics. That location, traditional intrusion system on the interior of the property, and cameras with analytics on the exterior of the property. The middle camera is clearly a thermal camera that's created an event of somebody moving through an area where they should not have been. And then the last one is a different camera with analytics that's just an interior camera detecting a person inside of that location. So I'm going to get into the operator portal and what your monitoring center sees. They have access to what we call a site map and really can drive through cameras very quickly. This is just a quick example of what an operator gets when the first alarm event occurs. When any alarm event occurs, we start them with 2 images, what caused the alarm and live video of that specific camera. and then we allow them to move through the property, and I'll show you that. That all happens in under 5 seconds. So the moment you get a trigger, whether that's analytics or a physical trigger, that alarm is in front of an operator in under 5 seconds. Again, a very important detail, specifically if you're using analytics as a detection outside, thermal analytics or AI analytics. If you need a proper response or an active response, and an operator needs real-time information, you can push that to the monitoring center in under 5 seconds. So with all of this, I mean, I think I've alluded to all of these things a number of times. The simple installation, the advantage and the competitive advantage it gives you as a dealer to create enhanced security. I will mention one other thing, and that's the last bullet there, the video maintenance services. Because with this platform, I'm going to show you in a moment, you now have the ability to provide video maintenance services because you can supervise and monitor the health of that local equipment. You can even access the local equipment through our portal. So you can now provide that proactive maintenance services for your client, and you'll know when an IP camera or a recorder goes offline or disconnects, and you can call the customer and say you need to schedule service. So it really gives you some powerful tools that I'll jump into here in a moment. And that, what I'm referring to is this dealer dashboard. And I'll give you a full demonstration of that in a moment. But first, do me a favor, write down this website for me. It's at the bottom here. It says www.CHeKT.com and then /launch. This website has got a ton of valuable information that really helps you to understand our solution. And then it guides you in and really dives into design ideas, installation videos, branding, and media information that we're happy to brand for your dealer or for your company. So this website here that I want you to make sure you notate is very important because there's a lot of very valuable resources and information there for you. So I'm going to jump off the slideshow and go right into the dealer dashboard. This is a demo account that I'm showing you here. And I hope everybody can see this screen okay. I'm going to try to move through this slow in case the refresh isn't happening as fast as it is on my end. What you have right now is you have an overview of this dealer account. This dealer has 4 bridges and 13 cameras all online right now. If any of the sites had a camera or bridge offline, you would see that information listed here, and you would actually see the specific location in the center column here. So you would know which sites are having internet service troubles, or maybe a specific IP camera. Many times there's nothing you can do because that internet service provider is down, but you at least understand what's occurring there. We, on every site, and I'm going to jump into this now on the customer list, on every site we even tell you who the internet service provider is. So in some regions you might have a major outage and you'll see all of your provider information, and you'll know which providers are having an outage and which areas of the city that outage may occur. So we supervise that information. And I'm on the demo account right now, customer. Setting up a customer is very easy. I'm not going to go through that, but I am going to go over to the devices. So you can see the devices that are on this site, and you'll see I'm going to collapse the list just for a moment. This site has 3 bridges. You can see that all of them are armed right now. Of course, we're going to use this as our demo right now. So I have them armed here in our office. If I expand that list, you'll see that there's 4 cameras attached to each bridge. Attaching a camera is very simple. On any specific bridge, all you do is you go to the channels and you just discover the devices on the network. The bridge will scan that local area network for any OnViv compatible IP cameras or recorders. Once that list is propagated, and it takes a few minutes or a few moments depending on the size of the network. Our network's quite large here. So in just a second, though, you'll see all of the cameras show up here. And what you would do is you would select any of the individual cameras that you wanted to learn in. You would select it and then authenticate to it. And then the bridge does the rest from there. Real simple, real straightforward. Once that's done, you'll see the status of that camera. You see that we have alarm zone information, the zone type information. That's all about the programming and the type of contact ID codes that you might want to transmit based upon the the type of sensor or service you're providing and supervising there. But as it relates to the online status, if any one of these cameras go offline, as I mentioned, your central station will get a notice and you'll get a notice that that camera is offline. We supervise those cameras and those bridges actively all the time. So we'll be able to provide you with that real-time information at any moment. As it relates to providing the services, you can connect to any camera or recorder through this interface. So without having any device port forwarded, I can go, you can see here, and if you guys are all familiar with the recorders and the IP cameras available from, of course, you'll know some of these brands, but if I click on this setting here, I have the ability to remotely connect to the web interface of this camera. So when I click on that create access URL, and I click on that URL, immediately I'll touch the web interface of that camera, and I could do that with a recorder as well. So as I talked about the video maintenance services and in reducing the cost of ownership, the ability for you to always have access to those devices through your portal means that you can configure analytics, you can make changes, you can support that appliance remotely from your office without ever having to drive out to that site. So I just wanted to show that. There's a number of things that I could show, and we'd be happy to do any individual webinars after this. I want to talk about the site map that you can see here on the right side. This is something that you set up for the monitoring center. All of these cameras can be placed on the map by just clicking this icon. And what you really, all you do is you just move the camera and you place that camera in the location that it would be on the property. You orientate the field of view and width of that camera and save that. And what you're really doing is you're locking that view in for an operator. So I'm going to jump into that right now. On any site from your dealer account, you can open up the operator portal right here in the top right-hand corner. What I'm about to do is all automated in a monitoring center. So we have a really tight integration with all of the operation centers and all of their softwares. So this step is automated when an alarm event occurs. But if you needed to look at an event, you can just simply click on Open Monitoring Portal, and you can see what that operator is seeing at that location. So I'm going to look through a couple of events here and show you a couple of events, but I want to explain to you why I'm looking at this camera first. And the reason is, I mentioned earlier that this site is armed. That site or that specific camera has created an alarm in the last few moments. And so we always start the operator with the most recent alarm so they can see what's happening there. You'll also notice that this camera is in what we call privacy mode. This is a patented feature that allows you to provide video monitoring services for customers that maybe have some privacy concerns or the camera's in an area of sensitivity. You can set up a camera in privacy mode that does not allow the operator to view what's happening on that location. But as you can see here, we're running deep learning analytics on that video event to determine that there's a person in the field of view of the camera. So I'm going to show you something that's really cool. I have my phone mirrored here on my computer, so I'm just going to drag it over here to the right side, and I hope everybody can see this okay, because I'm going to simulate what an operator would do here. So the operator has access to this alarm. The alarm occurred. You can see here that this alarm was actually created by analytics, and it's a line crossing event, so that's why it says crossed alarm. The operator just knows someone's there, but they don't know if that person has authorization to be there. They don't know really much, but they can immediately push this event to the contacts or the end users. So I'm going to hit verify event. I'm going to throw my phone back up on the screen. You'll see a text message hit my phone. Now, me as the end user, I'm receiving this. I click on the link here. I get a screen here that would show the dealer that I received my services from. So that would say ABC Alarm System or whoever my security company is. I would touch that screen, and immediately now from my phone, as the client, I can see who's in the field of view of that camera. Now, notice that the operator can also see who's viewing this camera right now. So the operator has information. Everything that's happening right now is also logged in an activity log that you have access to at all times. So everything's time-stamped, everything's logged. You'll have access to that. But the operator sees that David Erickson is checking. You, of course, can see that I'm checking. And let's just kind of play this scenario out. I'm going to say, I don't know who that person is, and I want to call the police. So I hit call police, and then I'm asked a question. Do you want to allow the central station to view this camera for 1 hour? I'm going to say allow. And as soon as I do that, the operator now has visibility into that location. Immediately now the operator can see and of course provide that information to the police department. You'll also notice additional alarm events are staged here. Those are just additional video events that have occurred during this whole process. I'm going to click off of here and now move through the other cameras on the property. So let's just say this is the property. We talked about the site map. You can see on the bottom here on the site map that there's 2 cameras that have red numbers. That means those are the locations that alarms have occurred at in the last 10 minutes while we've been talking. So an operator would intuitively know that that's where somebody's been on that property and can just click on that camera and go to that location. Now, I don't know if you noticed it, but a red number just popped up on this camera and an alarm occurred. If I needed to go to that event, I would click on it, and then this is another camera creating events off of analytics, and it's a car driving through a gate here. So the operators at these central stations are all trained on this portal and platform, but it's pretty intuitive for them to use. So they can move through live view of all of these cameras in zones. I will show you a couple other scenarios where an operator would click on an event, and now they see someone outside here. You can see someone's walking outside here. And let's say that the service that you're providing is services where you don't dispatch the police right away. You might send this event to a guard service. We also allow you to share these events to a guard service or to predefined contacts. So at any time I can click on share event and I can create what's called a response link, and I can type in the cell phone number of a guard response service or an email address, and I can define how long that link is active for. So now I can push an email or a text message to any responding agency. They'll have access to the event, they'll have access to the address and all of the property contacts for that location. And then additionally, if I needed to share this event for someone to download, I can just quickly send an email to the predefined contacts or type in an email and hit send. And now I've just pushed that event to a contact if necessary. But you can see how quickly this platform responds. You can see all of these cameras are live and then are creating events either by physical triggers or analytics. Now, something that I want to clarify here is that this site is currently armed even though the business is open. Typically speaking, of course, all of these cameras, because it's during the day and the property's open, they would be disabled. They would not be creating these video analytic events because the alarm panel would be disarmed. And so any of those analytic triggers we would just ignore, and it would ensure that the central station isn't bothered. And really what that means to you is, number one, the central station's not bothering your client about nuisance alarms and really events that they don't want to be bothered with, but also ensures that your costs remain low. Because central stations bill dealers based upon the amount of alarm signals and alarm traffic that occurs. So when you have sites that are creating video analytic events all day long, all of those go into a pool, as you guys know, and they're part of a cost that central station has to pass on to dealers. And then unfortunately, you have to ultimately pass that on to your customer. Tying this into an intrusion system really helps reduce the cost of providing these video monitoring services. If you have locations like this and everything was going to be driven off of a specific zone or timer, and then you had a contract with a monitoring service where they're just going to review these cameras and look through the property just to ensure that nobody's on the site, they can do that very quickly. You've seen a couple of these cameras. Some of these are cameras with thermal analytics, and then some of these are just traditional IP cameras, or they're channels off of a recorder. So that platform of that the operator has access to see real time what's occurring on a location is very powerful. And it just supports the services that you're providing to those customers. So I want to wrap it up here. I also want to just remind you guys, I'm going to go to the website just to reiterate something, because I think this is key, is this website that I mentioned, CHeKT.com/launch. If you go to this website, there's a ton of content that allow you as the dealer and the company that's going to be providing this solution to really begin to understand how to do this well. It also gives you the ability to contact us, to ask questions. Just getting started on the site will just give you information. So I really appreciate everyone's time. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with everyone. And I just hope you have a great day. Thank you.